do. Force wellness check. Dude, is that still on? Why is it so fucking cold in here? an ice cube in here. Okay. It's always too late, dude. Muted or where's my phone? Oh no, I left it there. Okay. Hello? Yeah, he's annoying. Hello? Hello? Plaskett? What? Oh no. What? Oh my God. We're here. Oh, you guys, sorry. What's up? I know you could hear me. Oh no. I said a lot of bad stuff. I'm sorry. Alright, so we got, what did I say? You broke, you done. It's never too late, Arsenal fan. The fuck, man. Not a question. Make it harder for me to do this. Maybe I can copy it over from the other. Probably can't. Okay, I'll copy it from here. What's up? So, everybody, how are you? Copy. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I got messages. What's up? Messages. Learn, study. Here. Oh yeah, I want to see the stupid candidates. All right, add that. What? Add a new chapter. Hello, Mr. Arsenal fan. Are you here yet? What are those messages? Art director and Sun Prism. Wow. So, your evening chops. Woo! There goes JD Vance. Woo! All right. So, our director, game for analysis. Get PGN. Woo, 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 woo. Play versus bot. Copy. Guys, does the mic sound bad or good? Can you hear the ambulance? Then it's my bad mic. If you can hear the ambulance, it's my good mic. Alright. So, a little advertisement for chess.bot. Analysis, learn, study. My studies. Add chapter. Paste. And then Caruana bot. You can hear it's probably my bad. It's my bad mic. Oh no. Maybe both mics are active. Let me see this for a second. They're both mics. Uh-huh. That should be muted. What is that? That's not it. Audio input camera. Audio input, video input. Blah, 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 blah. Global settings, source settings. What? I don't understand what that is. Hello? Doesn't matter. I don't care. What's up, Zenchess? Nice thing there yesterday. Where's my $100? I wanted to accept your bet, but you weren't there. All right. Let's see. You snooze, you lose, right? The jar, alert box, whatever. All right, I'm done with this. I had another submission for games. You fell asleep. Any chance you could send like $10 of that back to my PayPal? What, are you serious? What do we want now? Did you send me money? I didn't check my PayPal. Did you seriously send me more money? Oh, the donations the other day. Oh my god, dude. Are you serious? What happened, dude? Copy. Well, the donations the other day. Wait. Your dad's way tried to kill me? Kill who? Kill me? But you didn't send donations, right? Wait, you bought, dude, I don't know what you're talking about, but you're scaring me. Wait. Learn, study. You made a PayPal donation? I thought you bought gift subs. Yeah, I can't send you subs. No, I remember you sent me subs, but it's not like cash or something. I don't get that money, like, you know, I don't get that money for like till like next month or whatever. It's, if it was like a PayPal donation in cash, I could refund it, you know. I thought maybe there was some PayPal donation you made in cash, dude. There's a delay till you hit a milestone. What? She drained the house of food. She's in prison. You're saying a lot of crazy stuff, dude. Are you alright? Alright. So, FADIA candidates 2026. How do you drain someone's house of food from prison? Alright. Anyway. This is Sung Prism last game, okay. Caruana. So all the games are in. What are we going to start with? What's chapter 5? Chapter 5 is move 11? No. What is chapter 5? That's Arsenal. Oh, okay. Yeah. Chapter 5 is Arsenal. I should make a note of that. Alright, Zenchess, you're saying a lot of crazy stuff, so I don't know what's real and what's not. Already, everything is fine now? Now that mom's in jail. She went where Arsenal's neighbors went. Masturbate. So we'll start with, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. We can start with Arsenal since he's here and he just sent me this game. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I got 2 games, but Move 11 is probably not here. Who submitted Rajabov versus Praggnanandha? That's... Wait, that was from Move 11? No. I don't understand why I had the Rajabov Praggnanandha game. Who gave me that? No picture. Oh, pictures to Arsenal fan? You guys can share all the pictures you want. You originally gave you that game, but then you switched it. I have 20 new messages already? Wow. Alright, Move 11. How do you know you have strep throat? Do you have like a little light you flash on your throat? You can see. I haven't seen the back of my throat in a while. All right, the distinctive signs of strep throat. So we got Arsenal's here, so we can start with your game then. By all means, you were first. Anyway, it's always a little confusion. It's always a little confusing if Zen Chess is in the stream. I don't know what's real and what's not real, or if he's being serious or he's joking around. Context is so hard to come by on the internet. But yeah, if you need money, we'll have someone send it right out, which is not me. All right, I got enough financial problems of my own, so of my own making. All right, the new Move 11 game is Alice in Chains versus Georgiou. No, it's actually an F3 Nimzo where Move 11 is black. It's not. That's not Move 11's game. I am totally confused. This is Move 11's game. It is an F3 Nimzo. Okay. The study does that sometimes. It like sticks in the wrong... It stays in the wrong chapter, and you think you're in the wrong chapter. All right, this is an F3 Nimzo. This is Move 11's game from round 4 in the Marshall Chess Club Premier. Lovely. Well, we just had another F3 Nimzo with Iatan like 2 weeks ago or something like that, or maybe I played one. So, Move 11 is black. It's d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, f3. You know, like traditionally d5 is the most standard move, but I like c5 better. And then somebody played castles here. What was it last week? I feel like someone did a castles game, which is a really kind of more rare move. Anyway, was it Morales? I don't remember. But c5 main line. This is not the queen c2. You know, you have to play d5 or something like e3 or a3. So d5 and now d6. Now, Move 11, you decided Eugene, the take back, the move take back guy. All right, the cheater. So d5, he'll teach you how to take moves back or cheat in tournaments. Sorry. Water under the bridge. D5, A3, bishop E7. So D6. Why D6? You prefer D6? I like B5 better. D6 is okay. So we're going to transpose sometimes. I like B5 better because it's a bit more dynamic. You may not have to play D6. But anyway, you chose to play D6. White plays E4. Now you play B5. And then what happens in the game is very standard. White plays knight on GD2. I mean, have you seriously considered playing castles instead? I mean, B5 instead? Castles is another move, but B5 is different, right? We've looked at this. But okay, so the line that happens in the game is a distinct possibility here. B5, knight E2. This is the main move. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not that crazy about what happens in this game, because you don't destroy the evil, wall. It's a different strategy. You play a kind of Huebner-like strategy where the center closes with E5. I don't personally like it as much. I guess it's fine because based on the statistics, black is fine. But that's Super Grandmasters playing black. So I still like this move order better, because after E4 we castle. Now if they try to play like knight E2 here, we take, and they can't. What can they do? There's knight F4. This is different. It's a little different. Bishop A6. It looks like that's pretty good. Anyways, not that completely different. Let's see what happens. So D6, E4, B5, knight E2. B takes E4. Castles is also possible. Knight F4. Can they go to G3? Only played in one game. La Russa. Tony La Russa. Well, I mean, the big square for D5, here, oftentimes, that's a very important point. So thus knight F4. I hope that wasn't... GP Bear has tipped $10. Can you discuss how analysis was done pre-computers? Larry Christensen sat in a room. He had just a desk and a chair and a large bottle of whiskey and a notebook and a chessboard and some encyclopedias or something. $10 donation from GP Bear. Table, check. Whiskey, check. Just kidding about the whiskey, although he probably had some. Just for example, Larry Christensen analyzing in the early 80s. Table, one room office with a table, chair, notebook, chessboard. What else? What else you got? So what are we talking about here? B5, yeah, B5 bishop D2. That's with the D6 line that we had. But I prefer to go. I made a mistake with D6 against you. Again, I prefer to play B5 without D6. Immediate B5 and castle. And it's very thematic, So bishop D2 is different here. I can take on C4. Bishop takes C4. And now, I mean, this is an uncommon line. I don't know. Bishop A6. Bishop A6. Knight A6. It's not dangerous. I mean, black is fine. Black is even better. A6. A4. I'm not sure what position you're talking about, move 11. But on this one, I guess you're talking about this one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I played this position by accident against. Yeah, I didn't intend to play this. I reached this position by accident. I move 11 saying A6, and now A4. And now this is quite a lot of games now. I mean, this variation was good, but it's getting to the point now where there's so many games that I'm wondering if it's a good idea to play it. Another reason to castle. There's like probably less games. Here, castles, E4, B5. No, B5, E4 castles. Yeah, there's E5, there's knight H3, and there's bishop G5. And none of the moves is like necessarily bad. This is probably best. But anyways. So let's see what happened here without getting off in another place. B takes C4, knight F4, E5. It's complicated enough without analyzing every possible line. So knight goes back. Now you're committed to this Hübner structure. And the problem is you can't break his center. Now, my whole philosophy of playing these types of positions for black is to destroy the enemy's center. But move 11 is playing in a way that doesn't do that, you know. I mean, he destroyed C4, but there's no way you're going to break this up. The only way to break this up is to sack a piece or play F5. So it's the position is like mutated to a Hübner type of thing. And the problem with the Hübner type of thing is that white often can attack with like H4, G4, knight G3, King F2. You can't open the position easily for black. It's a very, very different type of position than what I'm aiming for with the other B5 lines. So I never played this before. I mean, we can look with black. I don't have any games here. 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 Yeah, I've played B5 almost exclusively. And I castled in one game, which is a transpo, actually. White has the additional option of like A3 or something. Maybe bishop D2. But yeah, I've never played this as far as I remember. So I've seen this though. You know, you go here. There's also, aren't there some positions where black goes G5, but I guess not in this particular moment. This is playable. Shit. Kidding me? G5. Wow. There are games probably. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, there are games to G5. I saw this, you know. So Wesley, how are you doing tonight? So you can play E5 or G5, and that I remember. Of course, again, the problem with E5 is that you take the pressure off his center, move 11. I want to punish white for not castling and overextending himself, but if you close the center, it's hard to do that. So you're playing another completely different strategy when we go E5. G5 still leaves this tension here in the center, so maybe there's still some chance. I mean, this is a really, really risky move, G5, obviously. Black is now like weakening his whole king side and the dark squares. So I'm not saying I recommend it, but it's another idea. So E5 now, locking the center, knight E2, and you castled. This isn't the game, dude, where you castled, or you manually. This is a new game, right? You had something similar where you didn't castle, or you castled and you brought your king back to the queen side. So here, knight on BD7 is normal, though. You know, I mean, who knows? You could play maybe knight A6, although, yeah, knight A6 is an option. Knight H5 has been played, knight G8. I love knight G8. That's a good sign. Zapova. I'm there, man. Is F4 playable after knight E2? I guess. But again, massive structural change. But I mean, after this, I mean, one of the reasons with this, I guess, is, well, that would certainly deter f4, because now, you know, the knight or knights, after knight on bd7, we have good control of e5. So if white tries to play f4, well, he can't, you know, because of this, but no. To answer your question, no. Knight g8 is ridiculous. Castles is apparently, you know, only played in 3 games, but the computer gave it a question mark. I don't know. I think that you're committing your king when it's not necessary, maybe. But the question is, if you don't castle, what else do? You know, you play like h5. I mean, so knight on bd7 is the answer. I feel like I'm playing the check Benoni, but at least my bishop's on b4. It's a snake check. It's a check snake. We're holding onto the c pawn. Oh, so materialistic way of thinking about the game, but we got to be open-minded. Move 11 likes the c pawn. No, it's an argument. I gotta admit, I'm not used to playing with that. You know, trying to hang it on, hang it on him. But okay. Your move has been played by 4 grandmasters, 5 grandmasters at least. How bad can it be? It's a little committal. All right, knight g3, knight on bd7. You know, f5 square is screaming, bro. F5. I mean, my first priority is making sure, you know, I can eliminate whatever comes in there. So, problem is, like, in this position, it may be too late, because if you know, even if you did a random move, like, I don't know, h6 or something, and you play his knight f5, taking the knight doesn't necessarily solve your problems. He might be able to just storm you with g4, g5, this sort of pawn storm, after taking with the e pawn on f5. I mean, this maybe has some logic to it. Here you could take and play and say, okay, well, I can control these dark squares and maybe bust open the center or whatever. So I'm very disturbed by the knight getting an f5, because what are we going to do with it once he gets there? You can't play like g6. I mean, really? How are you going to get the knight off of f5 after this? Is there a tactic? There's a tactic. No. So, no one played knight f5 here. It's that serious? We can just go like knight b6? I mean, what's the deal here? There's no tactics on knight e4 because h4 is covered by the knight. Are you serious? You're just gonna go here and it's like, I don't care about a doubled pawn. Deviled pawns. Now he has g4. Am I crazy to think about doing this for white? So explain to me, your knight on f6 can go to like e8. You don't like g4. Good. Don't like it. But anyway, it's certainly not forced, but I'm just curious what's going on. I'm losing a piece? What? Wow. What? Okay. Wow. Look at this. Clang! That's the computer. That's why you don't like it. Nah. Wow. So this is serious. Wow. All right. There's no time for g4. So this is new to me. Knight f5 is no good. Bishop takes e4, and now you took on c3. I am biased against this play for black. Knight b6. It's so weird. So we're following Richter Onishuk. Volkov Bokharov 2005. This is not a new position. It's like Russian Championship 2005 or Russian Team Championship. Bishop e2, and then naturally c4. So your bishop can come back to to c5 maybe later. Yeah, I didn't see that either. Aquinas losing to a 2100. Yeah, but again, this is very non-standard. So move 11 doesn't play knight b6. He plays bishop takes c3. So that's the main plan. It looks like going here, following up with c4, so your bishop can recycle. So let's say castles. What do? One player played bishop c5 check, Alexander Onyshuk, and he beat a weaker player. But what's the plan ultimately for black? Arsenal's f4 starts to look conceivable here because of lack of control over the e5 square. I mean, we can go bishop d4, and Onyshuk is a subtle player. Let's say f4. Bishop here. Yeah, f4 is well, it is much better here. Dude, I don't like this. You know, I'm going to be honest. Even f4. So this whole position creeps me out. It's pretty much what I'm trying to avoid. This is pretty much what I'm trying to avoid in my whole philosophy of the f3 Nimzo. I don't want to get attacked with the guy having a space advantage in this pawn wall and no counterplay. Onyshuk could beat Michael Richter, but whatever. He's just a random IM or GM, but a weak GM. But what are we doing? You know, after bishop takes c4, white is better. So how big a difference can it make if you don't castle? Now, knight on bd7, move 11 said don't castle. Notice g4 is a move here. So I don't feel good. Can I go home now? Yeah, I don't like this line. I mean, it's up to you. But I don't find it easy. It doesn't look easy to play. Anyway, let's see what happens. So castles here, here, bishop takes c4, knight b6. No, you took, and now queen a5. Edwin Trost, not to be confused with Erwin Todt. Queen a5 has been played before. That pawn could be sacrificed, sacrificial pawn. But I mean, dude, your queen is on a5. You're going to play bishop a6, right? But you're trading off his good bishop with your bad bishop. And then knight f5 is a goner. Yeah, I don't know what we're doing here. That knight is going to kill you on f5 if you do something like queen a5, bishop d2, bishop a6, takes, knight f5. There's a game here with queen a5 as you played, and this is what happened. Bishop d2, and now bishop a6. So I'm saying, what happens if take, knight f5? Take, knight f5. You're saying, I don't care, it's not a big deal? And there may be some truth in that. But I still think it's kind of a big deal. Yeah, maybe you're okay if you do like this. You have to watch this. Stupid book. All right. So queen e2 is played by Trost. I wonder if you should consider playing g6 if you're given the chance, because it could avoid a lot of problems at some cost. Might be worth the risk, depending on what happens. So Trost plays queen e2. I don't know if that's a real person or a bot. Bishop takes c4, queen takes c4, and knight b6. And let's see what happens. Queen e2, queen a4. Alert, knight on f5. And white castled. But again, I don't really know why you wouldn't go knight f5 here. Because of this? What does that do? Like, white wants to play knight f5, then he can do other stuff. Once he gets it there, It's very strong. I guess there's this queen c2 thing. That is kind of annoying. But I don't know, you know, castles. Isn't white better here? White is a little bit better. It's risky business, man. I don't know. Bishop a6, okay. And now bishop e2. Yeah, that's a weird move. I mean, take, let me see. Yeah, so it looks like take queen e2, which I didn't even think of. In fact, him trading queens. Now there's the b file, plus his king. You know, his king gets to stay in the center. He's threatening knight f5. He also has knight f1 back here. And there's always f4 later on, maybe. But the b file, so if you play like g6 to keep him off of f5, he goes to the b file. You defend the b file. Maybe a4 or something. If you go knight b6, he can defend this. It still looks like white is better. A lot better. So, yeah. But anyway, it was a reasonable try. But I don't think this is great. So his move is even weirder than the guy's move. You mean knight c4. Your other knight c5. You mean knight c5? Wait. How are you getting knight c5? You gotta put your pawn on c4? I mean, a lot of stuff happens before that. You know, you're gonna go here and like knight c5, but white can play bishop e3. So it's complicated, you know. But this knight is threatening things. Yeah. But anyway, white plays a really weird move. Bishop e2. What is that? That seems like a hesitant move. And then here, but I'm concerned about knight f5. You're not concerned about knight f5. What are you going to do? He's going to come to f5 and then e7 and c6. You're just like sitting there letting him play knight f5. That's really weird, man. You know, like you're not concerned about knight f5 at all. I'm thinking I'm going to lose the game. I just don't see how you're getting rid of it. Once it gets into f5, it's attacking the base of your pawn chain. It's threatening forks and e7 into c6. There are multiple problems with knight f5. You can trade it off with knight b6. What? Trade what off? I don't know what we're talking about. Why not this rook? Maybe this rook? Just to clear here? So I don't like this knight on f5. I think you're worse. It's plus 0.9 now. Bishop takes e2, queen e2, and you don't even have this now. So your next move, queen c7, which is, as far as I'm concerned, white is clearly better with a knight on f5. And his bishop is as good as any knight here. It's still very, very decent. This is a better bishop. You traded off his bad bishop for your good bishop on a6. It's not ideal. This is very passive, but okay. And then there's always check and knight c6. That you can trade off. But he doesn't have to commit to that right away. You know, he can just leave the knight on f5 and attack you on the king side. Castles, and now g6. And I think maybe g6 is the right thing to do, but the tasty way to do it, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, you know, g6 is a whole a matter of another type. Now you have weaknesses on the dark squares, and he has a dark square bishop. So it's going to be a kingside problem. Either way you have to deal with it, there's going to be some problems. You know, this, yeah, knight e7, knight c6, you can trade it off. But that's going to take some moves, first of all. But this is the other problem now. There's no doubt in my mind that black is worse here. Maybe this guy is look, it's not easy to play white's position. All right. That's the good thing about the type of position we're involved in here. It's better for white. It's like +1 spatially, but it's easy for white to overextend and mess it up too. Is f4 the right decision? This is a very obvious move and a major consideration because of weaknesses, but I don't know. You know, maybe he's playing f4 too soon. Maybe he shouldn't play f4 at all. I would spend like a ton of time here with white, probably. Arsenal's like f4 now. Yeah, in a blitz game, okay, play f4 now, but your e4 pawn is weak. I don't know. But I think that g4 needs to be seriously considered. Maybe g4 is too slow? But I mean, we're never going to get a knight trapped, and we can always secure it with like g5, so it's something to consider. I just don't think like white has to be so, you know, f4, g4. Anyway, like we don't have to do either or right now. White can just make a move that improves the position. The main threat is what? Rook b2? I would say black is threatening rook b2. If you play rook b1, you can't meet the rook on the b file because of knight f7. So you have to defend your rook with the queen. You're threatening rook b2, rook b1, queen b6, or something like that. I was thinking like maybe white should play rook b1, but okay, let's look at it. Rook b1. Now, Arsenal fan earlier mentioned something about like c4. But as you can see, this is now a complicated situation because we can't, you know, can't keep everything protected. So anyway, this is a very complicated position. I honestly don't think it's easy for white to play, first of all. Secondly, it's not easy for black to play. Thirdly, I think this is a very important moment, and white needs to figure out the right way to play the position. Maybe just take control of b2, like go here or something. Just not let you penetrate to the 7th rank. Maybe like bishop e3 is the best move. Something simple. Yeah, you can do like knight h5, but that'll walk into g4. Maybe that's not so good because of knight f4. A lot of questions. Maybe knight h5 is viable. Yeah, it's a close game. g3. It could be very positional. But I don't know about f4. It is the best move according to the engine. Wow, it's sharp. Because this is potential weakness, and he's ignoring rook b2. But obviously, white is playing for the dark squares. So I wasn't sure about f4. The computer likes it. But obviously, you have that knight h5 thing here as well. You can take and play knight h5. Well, it's a Benoni structure now, but a very weird Benoni where we don't have a dark square bishop. We've given up our dark square bishop. Arsenal fan? What? e5? Like e5? e5? You're not talking about that, right? You're not serious. So f4, the computer says, or the analysis says knight g8 question mark. How long is this game? 100 moves? No. All right, knight g8 question mark. The knight, dude. If we had an AI synopsis of this game, knight g8 was a huge mistake. This whole game is about that knight, you know. That's the takeaway. So you ended up making a blunder because of the knight. You wanted to get rid of it with knight g8. A totally natural move, by the way. Because you know, who likes living with a knight on h6? I have a tendency to get mine trapped. Right, so here, what are you supposed to play? Something like take on f4? Take on f4 isn't great. There is no great move, though. Apparently you're clearly worse. Best case scenario. I would take on f4 too. This is dicey looking, but it leaves you with you know, still a pawn on e5. So take on f4. So the strongest move is really curious. I would have taken an f4 too, expected bishop takes. But now you have this problem, yeah, see? That's why I was afraid to play f4 with white. So here's the whole reason why I misevaluated f4. The computer goes rook takes f4, which I didn't think would be, you know, I thought it would be awkward, obviously. In e5, white has no control of e5 at all. But it turns out it's important because it protects this pawn from being attacked by this. And then obviously you can like double your rooks or whatever. So it's like a typical computer kind of line where you're piling up piece pressure. You know, who knows, dude? C4, bishop c3. You know, if white gets set in, if that happens, it's over. You know, you could see white could triple on the f file here. Tot Ervin is like having dreams about this kind of position, probably. Yeah. Well, a pro f3 Nimzo player might find rook takes f4. White probably saw it because he played f4. He didn't have to. Now, I'm assuming he finds this. In a blitz game, we play bishop takes f4. In a tournament game, we see how dangerous this is, that we can't defend e4, and we decide not to take with the bishop. White would find it. He would find rook takes f4. And the point is, rook takes f4 and e5 is impossible because our rook hangs. I mean, our knight hangs on f6. So how do we get a knight on e5? Well, I would assume knight here, but again, f7 is hanging. So taking on f4 is no good. Taking on f4 is no good, and, well, black is just worse. It's a very unpleasant position. But I told you so. f4, knight g8, and now there may be some tactic. No, there's no tactic. The Smothers Brothers. You just have no space. I can't breathe. Police brutality. They're violating my civil rights. I need a lawyer. I have the right to remain silent. Knight h6, bishop h6. Knight h6 is best according to analysis. You played f6 instead. f6 in stones may break my bones, but knights on h6 will never hurt me. f6 looks reasonable. Does white have something weird like queen g4? I see. He does that next. He does that next. He's a strong attacking character, isn't he? He was in his zone here. F takes g6, h takes g6, queen g4. This is weak. This is weak. See? No light square bishop. Well, I was thinking queen g4 right away, but that would allow black to block the position. If you play queen g4, then obviously g5 can be played. Still looks scary. But the knight is hanging on h6, so probably has to trade. So he doesn't want it to get locked up too much, so he trades. You take, and now queen g4, and now you've got a problem. What about h7? King h7. I don't feel good. Can I go home? This isn't good. Check. Queen e6. Can you play Queen e6 now? That's stupid. Queen e6, rook b, e8. Queen h3. Queen h3 is not stupid, right? Or h4, but I like h3 better. Why not? You like this? This looks really bad for black. Because what are we going to do? So he plays his check, and after king s7, knight h4, but now it appears like, okay, this is bad too. Yeah, it's bad. This is bad too. Yeah, knight e7 loses to queen e6 check. So you have to do this. Run away. Run away from the man with the candy. Knight takes g6, rook f7. Ooh, this is bad here. Yeah. It's bad. Ow! Ow! Oh, Mr. Fancy. Bishop g5. Mr. Fancy Pants. He was enjoying this a little too much. Yeah. Alright. Well, anyway. My one trick is knight takes e6, knight f8. Yeah, well, not easy to play, man. Interesting game. So Rajabov Pragnanatha is not in today. Delete. Okay. Then we've got Herman. I'm sure he got that joke a lot. Wait for Herman to show up. If he doesn't show up, we'll do it later. Gela is optional. Then I got Arsenal Fan, Iatan, and Sun Prism. So move 11. Look, play as you like, but my whole philosophy on these F3 Nimzos is to destroy the enemy pawn chain, and E5 variations are obviously going in a different direction. But I think there may be some subtleties there with not castling, you know, that we saw, where you can perhaps change the move order a little. Arsenal Fan. What is this game? Are you white? Okay. Arsenal flan. Flan shaped. Arsenal shaped flan. E4, C6, D4, D5. And now E5. And I would like to be good at playing E5, but I just don't have the feel for it. I think it takes a lot of practice to get good at the advanced Caro-Kann. And I personally have, I've been going back to the Panov, my old standby, because I was trying to play these, like, you know, sorry, these chicken variations like knight f3, and I've been trying to play the d3 and the knight c3, and it's all, you know, like nothing special. The main line's nothing special. At the end of the day, I mean, this is the one way to really try to kill the Caro-Kann. So, good luck. I think this is the problem with the Caro-Kann. You know, if I'm black, this is the only thing I'm really afraid of, and I really don't like. And I think that there are some Caro-Kann players who probably like savor it and love it, and they love having no space. But I still have this memory of my second tournament where I had to play the black side of a Caro-Kann. All right. So anyway, E4, C6, D4, whatever, E5, and now black plays C5. And yeah, you're playing a league game in the UK. I wonder if the Arkle effect, Keith Arkle's influence has any. Well, a lot of people play the Caro-Kann. It's so popular, you know. Arkle's like a senior grandmaster, but I mean, outside of that, like, everybody plays the Caro-Kann. It's like the most popular opening with like chessable courses, which is ridiculous. But seriously, beyond Keith Arkle, someone I know, it just in general, I mean, the thing is, like bishop f5 feels like the more reliable move, but it's much more fun to play c5, right? If you can. The Caro-Kann is easy to play. So, Ghazi says Caro is easy to play. Well, that's why the popular courses and stuff. It feels like it's easy to play, right? It's very formulaic. It isn't easy to play when you're getting your face smashed in by a strong master like Michael Adams or something, when you're, yeah, it's like the London, exactly. You don't appreciate how hard it is to play the Caro-Kann until you played like the black side of the advanced variation against Michael Adams or someone of that ilk, a really strong grandmaster who just crushes other grandmasters who played the Caro-Kann against them. I just think back to like 2 years ago when I played in the World Senior, and Adams was like torturing Artashes Manassian in a typical kind of Caro-Kann. Manassian just wanted to play something solid. He was a great player, by the way, but you don't have space. Very hard to play. It doesn't matter at the lower levels so much. So space advantages mean less at lower levels. Anyways, d takes c5 is the best move probably, but I have this weird sort of view of these positions. So sometimes it feels almost like it looks like we're almost playing an Albin. So if I play like knight f3 or like something like c4, it looks like we're playing the black side of like an Albin or something like that. It's weird. c4 obviously not a common move. Knight f3 is more common. Knight f3 is okay. Move 11 has talked about this too. We've looked at this a little. Knight f3 is a solid choice. I'm not a fan of c3. That's what a lot of people do automatically, but this is like the topical move. Takes, and now e6. Originally, everybody played knight c6, and that's actually been seeing like a lot of play too. Knight c6, f4. This is the critical line. So move 11 also can speak to this variation when he's done with his Nimzo. There are some problems for black here that might be workable, but I wouldn't want to try to figure it out. So e6 is like safer, and this has been known since, I don't know, at least the end of the 90s, since like 2000, at least since 2000. Kramnik, I thought it was Kramnik who popularized this move for black in one game at least. Kramnik didn't play the Caro-Kann a lot. You're out of book here. Oh, that's not good. Maybe you subconsciously saw some games and you just didn't remember, because you played a3, which is like a main move. So this is a newer idea, right? So traditionally everyone tried to like hang on to the pawn on c5, but there was some game, Karyakin Tivyakov, right, like 6 or 7 years ago, which was, no, Karyakin, sorry, not Tivyakov, it's Karyakin Topalov, right? Tivyakov is not playing much, but Topalov played black in a Caro and lost a really nice game to Karyakin, I remember, which this is the first time this came to my attention. So rather than trying to hang on to the pawn, a3 is better. Having said that, you don't have to play a3 right away. So there are some interesting ideas here with the move order. Generally speaking, I think white should let the c5 pawn go. The only question is move order. Should you play a3 right away, like Karyakin did? Should we play another preemptive move, knight f3? Move 11 says a3, bishop takes c5, queen g4. Right. There are these lines with queen g4. That was in the World Senior last year too. It's like a French. There's a French theme. You know, it's a French winner type thing. But the question here is, should I play a3? Should I play bishop d3? Should I play knight f3? You could play queen g4 preemptively, like Nimzovich, Carlsen, Naroditsky. This goes all the way back to 2002. Well, as I said, you know, I remember distinctly this variation starting to be played around 2000, and so that Shirov Vallejo game there must be a few years after Kramnik started playing, you know, playing e6. So anyways, I mean, there may be some arbitrary games that were played long before, but Botvinnik played c5, I think, but it wasn't ever picked up really. So a3, main move. Bishop takes c5, and now you play b4. And now b4 is a move, because it makes black decide. You're making him decide now where to put the bishop. So b4 is not stupid. But it is a little committal. Black will sometimes get counterplayed based on a5. Well, they're at least going to attempt to get counterplayed based on a5. You play b4. So you don't have to play b4. You can not play b4, not weaken yourself. But the idea with Karyakin and Topalov and stuff is that, like, the surprising thing, and I've tried to play this position with black, is the bishop goes here in a lot of cases. Because what happened was, and this is a really common theme in this Caro-Kann advance, it's kind of ironic, but Karyakin goes on to play like c4. It all comes back to playing c4 of all things, destroying the pawn on d5. And it's problematic for black, because you lose your strong point on d5, or you have to push it or trade it off. White gets access to like e4. White has space advantage. Black's temporary lead in development doesn't amount to much, and that's ultimately the whole point of this advanced variation, which I tried to prove in some videos that I made for the chess site, chess lecture. The whole thing is, like, it feels like black gets the development lead, but it doesn't matter, because you eventually catch up, and then you use your space advantage to kill him. So b4, a little risky. So I recall this maybe being my preference, but with bishop e7, you can put in f6 maybe at some point. You're going to have to hope that you can play maybe knight h6 in some moment. You know, this is more natural, I would say, to stay on the diagonal. That's what your opponent played, but mostly because you have a square for your knight coming to e7. f6 is one thing, yeah. I mean, of course, even bishop f8 has been played. Bishop e7 is the main move. Well, I think a5 comes into play here too. f6. So let's take a look at like the main move. King f8, right? You're gonna go king f8. If queen g4, king f8 is playable. Kinkin has a game for 20. I think I analyzed that game for one of my. Here's Winter Shu versus Schandorf, which is very interesting, because guess who plays the Caro-Kann? That's probably like Dana Championship 2 years ago. So I was trying to remember this game from the World Senior. It was Sud versus Winter Shu. So Winter Shu plays both sides of this. Winter Shu, but it sounds like Winter Shu. Anyway, so g6 is, yeah, this looks ugly though. I've seen this. Look at Black's score. Black's score, very popular in Scandinavian countries. I think it was the Kinkin game that made me this. Was Kinkin going bishop b6? Leko Kinkin 2017. Kinkin. Nefyadov's not here anymore to criticize my Russian pronunciations. Bob would be happy. So b4, bishop b6. You know, that gives the knight a square at e7. Here, knight e7. And, yeah, you're not committing your bishop one way or the other. But this seems like what would have happened in Topalov game. But I think that Karyakin played bishop d3, did he not? He probably played bishop d3 earlier. I can't remember all these games. Now Arsenal plays a very strange move here that I don't like. Bishop d3 is definitely a move, and it keeps this guy on c1, so he's not committed one way or the other. You know, but I mean, I think you want to go back and take a serious look at going here immediately. Or maybe knight f3 first, like Ghazi was saying. More flexible. Of course, that blocks queen g4 ideas. Whatever. Okay, there's all these different possibilities. b4, knight f3, knight e7. So bishop f4 is very strange. I think like you should play c4 at some point. Not yet, although you could. Like, what would happen if you played c4? I mean, maybe you're not really threatening anything. Told you it was an Albin. Yeah, but I don't know that he equalizes if he trades queens, you know? The computer thinks so. Wow. I thought white might still be a little better. The computer says no. Bishop takes c4. White is even a tad overextended. Okay, it's fine. We can wait. That's fine. We can wait. We can play maybe c4 later. Bishop b2 turns out to be the main move. There a5 or castles. Bishop d3. Let's say. Knight g6. This. Castles. Knight f4. What's going on here? See? c4. White has a terrible score with that move. And it's still not bad. c4, unbelievable. Look at this. White has a half point out of 4. And white is better, according to the engine, with a half point out of 4. Giving up that juicy bishop. But look at black's pieces all stuck there. d4, queen c4, bishop d7. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, Rafael Rodriguez versus Mark Lyle. Bishop c6 here, rook d1, queen e7. White is still better. How does white have such a bad score here? So anyways, that's a possibility. It's a little bit risky. Anyway, you play bishop f4. This is a new move. Your bishop's going to end up possibly blocked. But why is bishop f4 so bad? Is it really so bad? I'm going to turn off the chess engine. I just don't like it because it's like, you know, obviously it's attackable by knight g6, but it's a little bit pawn-like on g3, so we know that. Yeah, no, you don't have to give up your light square. You shouldn't have to give up your light square bishop. But maybe you know, honestly, maybe you want to rethink this b4 thing. If you know, you don't have to commit to b4. I think you should play something more flexible. Keep b4 in reserve. Though this winning score for black, look how much higher it is. Black's not winning like much in the knight f3 and queen g4 variations. Statistically, queen g4 has the best score. This is clear. That's why a lot of people play it. You were doing bishop d3. I mean, if your bishop doesn't go to b2, you don't allow knight f4, and you don't lose your light square bishop on d3. You know, like, the only way you lose your light square bishop on d3 is if a knight creeps into f4. If you don't put your bishop on b2, that can't happen. Okay, so b4 anyway. This is sometimes an idea to go there. And so bishop f4, okay. You got some weaknesses. I mean, there might be a case for this, Arsenal fan. You don't play b4, you know, if you're not going to fianchetto your bishop. If he tries to play a5 or something, you know, you don't want to let him just be coming down here and having to recapture with your queen or something. So I'm assuming if he plays a5, you're going to jam him with b5. That's what happens in the game. Yeah, because, you know, ultimately, that bishop going to b2 is an idea in some positions. But we're not going to do that with the bishop on f4. So after this, he's here and here. You know, I don't know about queen c7. It looks a little bit weird, you know, honestly. Yeah, a5 is far more natural. You're probably going to play b5. I mean, he gets c5, but look at his pieces, like how jammed up they are. You know, I mean, that's the thing. Slaggy square, Mr. Coffee. How's our Slaggy square? Black can fit all of it's like, you know, a clown car. I mean, that's your bishop on f4 isn't good, but he has a lot of pieces in a very small area. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, knight g5. So queen c7 is a bit weird. It does discourage c4, but really? Actually, you can play c4, can't you? Jeez. What would happen if you did that? Okay, it's probably not good here. He can take and he can get access to d5. Okay, so you go bishop d3. Now he plays a5. You go b5, but you didn't. I was assuming b5. You did play knight on bd2. I mean, this obviously needs to be considered. Black will probably play knight on bd7 to c5. He still has very little space, but he might be threatening to pick off your pawn on e5 too. There's also f6, don't forget, in some positions. So you went knight on bd2. He can trade and trade the rooks. You know, I don't know. Yeah, this, I guess he's going to go here? Trade pieces? Yeah. So, is he threatening you with, like, knight g6 now? I guess. You can sometimes give up your bishop on g6. That's actually the other way you could, yeah. There's a couple ways you can lose your light square bishop. That's true. Yeah, knight c5. Knight g6, you going bishop b5. So that happens in a lot of cases. Yeah, now b5, okay. But this is not an issue. You take, and you take, okay. So here, generally speaking, trading pieces is to his benefit because he's so cramped. But your knights are redundant anyway, here. And now he leaves the tension with bishop d7. And you're going to have to defend your pawn. So a4, okay. Knight g6, bishop g3. Bishop sucks. It's terrible. There's h5, you know, type of stuff, but you got to watch this too. Your bishop is your only really big problem. I mean, you know, if it was on like b2 or a3, you'd also have problems because f4, wherever it is, it seems like you have some kind of issues. Black plays rook c8. Interesting. Now you played h4. So he's just simply like threatening a tactic that doesn't work. He can't take on c2 because of rook c1. So you just kind of called his bluff here. You went h4, and now, oh boy. Yeah, h5 is going to be very committal for black. I am not thrilled for black to have to play h5. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You know, I'm not sure your opponent exactly knows what they're doing either. I'm getting creeped out by h5. Because, I mean, you're going to get access to this square now. Rook e1. Rook e1 looks good. Now he goes Manassian style with rook h6. Yeah, that's fine, but then what's he going to do, you know? So he wants to take with a rook. Your bishop, your light square bishop is so important that you couldn't give it up because it's gluing your c-pawn down to the board. So he goes rook h6. This is a pretty good move, but again, what's he supposed to do now? How do either side, you know, it's not like a Mexican standoff at this point. It looks like you kind of overextended yourself, but he also has a limited amount of things he can do. Trying to penetrate here along the c-file. So you played rook c1. Weird suggestion. You don't have rook here because of knight takes c2. But I wonder, you know, if you have something better than rook c1. You're threatening c3 though. You could just go like rook a2, right? What is he going to do to you? He can put his queen there. Maybe he has this. But okay, the knights are in take here. I don't even know who's better. I mean, I guess maybe you're kind of... Well, you have c4, don't you, actually? Jesus. Can you play c4? Oh my god. Dude, that would be completely logical, actually. If you take on d4, your e5 will be hanging. But if you play c4 right away... How does black answer that? You know, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. He's got all this stuff lined up on the c-file. You played rook c1. Dude, but... Yeah. What does he do after c4? He has one clear move. Knight f3, check. Now, if you take with the knight, he takes on c4. That's an issue. So you take with the queen, keeping c4 protected, keeping e5 protected. He has bishop d4, triple attacking e5, but I don't even know if that's realistic. This position looks like you could probably come up with something. Bishop takes g6 even. You know, what happens if bishop g6? He has to take with the rook, and then you can just, like, move your rook or something. I mean, maybe this is a reasonable, like pawn sack or something. Let's see. Yeah, White's like winning. Wow. Wow. Dude. Oh my god. C4, it's devastating. But you know, the interesting thing about this is, well, he farted around, right? Rook h6. That's not essential to play rook h6. You had c4 right away, right? I like h4. You know, inducing h5. That's good for you. Now I'll play c4 immediately, and you're. This is the whole point of the system. You can take on f3. Oh, you're right, of course. Okay, my bad. In order to do that, you'd have to take on g6, which might actually be strong. So you can take first. Yeah, but he's still gonna, yeah, okay, you're right. Rook e1 was good. When you're right, you're right. Rook e1 was good. And he walks into c4 here. So you played rook c1. That's, you know, like, okay, dude. First thing you're thinking is, oh, white's going to play c3 and kick my knight out, but he's going to play c4. I mean, obviously, we've got to look at weird moves like knight b1. H4 is hanging. A4 is hanging. Your flank pawns are hanging. Mr. Larson, can you please come to the front desk? Your rook pawns are hanging. Mr. Larson. Are you serious? Move 11 would have taken that A pawn like faster than you can blink an eye. Do you know how fast he would take that? Go on. He's stacking pawns on the side of the board, like one of those little kids in a Scholastic tournament, counting the pawns on the side of the board. Snap! Korchnoi. You'll be concerned about it later. But why? It's not a reasonable move to take the pawn. What do you have here? I mean, you know, you still have ideas of c4, but it's not possible now. I mean, you can't trade queens. So what do? Rook a1, but then your rook c1 is rendered sort of stupid. Queen g4 might not be a bad move, but I don't see why you can't take the pawn. Now you play king h2. Ah, I see. So he has this. But I keep feeling like he should have something here. Do you have tricks? No, he's starting to take it just right away. There is c4 takes c5. Doesn't really work. Yeah, it looks like you're right. You have to play king h2 or king h something. I mean, who knows? It is possible that king h1 is better in some instances, but I would assume defending your bishop makes sense. Now he takes the pawn. Well, I don't know. I mean, if he's really improved his position with this, but okay, fine. Now you play knight d2. Not what I would expect here. How about queen d2? I'm spelunking into the position for sure. After queen d2, queen b4, he has bishop d8. Oh, that's annoying. Shit, I missed bishop d8. That's really annoying. Though I don't know ultimately. You're gonna have a problem with h4. God damn it. Yeah. You'd have to trade queens or play c3 now. Yeah, that's stupid. Okay. So no. Man, the a-pawn's gonna kill you in an ending, man. If you play c4, it's gonna be like camel culture from Tuesday's tournament. The a-pawn's gonna matter. This is obviously not a happy move. We're pulling our knight away from the center, leaving these squares open. I don't like it. He can pretty much do anything now. I mean, getting his queen off of a4 would make sense. He could go here, right? Is this your point? You're going to play some weird-ass f3? Oh my god. I mean, is that even good? He can take the pawn? Oh no. Okay. He plays this, walking right into c4. You know the number one way that people lose chess games? I know. How do you lose games? How do you lose? What's the number one way I lose games? GP Bear, thanks for the $10 donation. They lose games by becoming overconfident. The number one way I lose when I think I'm going to crush this idiot. Alright? Don't get overconfident. Black is showing sign of overconfidence here. Just kind of like, I think, seems like he's a little oblivious of c4 to me. You know, I would have been like, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's like, okay, queen b4, queen e7. We're going to take our time now. There's some urgency here. But I mean, actually, this queen exchange is perfect. He cannot, you know, you cannot play c4 with his queen on a4. So why the fuck does he like move his queen then? You know, this is stupid. Like, he doesn't sense the danger of c4. Dude, the whole point of White's opening is to play c4. Isn't that funny? You play the advanced variation. You know, okay. You know there's that line, right? The old line. This is like ancient. c4. In the bishop f5, like c4, right? Yeah, who would have thought our plan was to play c4? c4. There it goes, baby. And that's the whole idea. So now the shit hits the fan. You're challenging d5. If d5 goes, everything goes. His king's in the middle of the board. Kablam. You know, e6, the c file. Squares for your knight. It's a shit show, you know. So this is where you're like, oh fuck, you know. What did I just do? If you're black. And if I'm playing Arsenal fan in Blitz game on Tuesday night, I'm like, oh my god. What are you going to do? D takes c4, knight takes c4. It looks terrible for black. The hold on d6, if you take here, knight takes, threatening this, plus this. I don't care how many pawns you're down, you know. What are you going to play with black here? Like king f8 or something? No, everything's hanging, man. Black's like done. Queen b4, c4. So critical condition. Now he had to play bishop d8. A minute ago, everything was fine. And now his whole position collapses. But that's what happens when you leave your king in the center. And it's the same thing that happens in the French, like advanced variation. It's just another Manassian, you know. He also did rook h6 against Michael Adams in the game I was talking about 2 years ago in the World Senior. 3 years ago now. 2 years ago, whatever. 2.5 years ago. Yeah, rook h6. It's a fun move. Very cool until you get checkmated with your king in the middle of the board. So maybe instead of, let's give black a suggestion. Instead of queen b4, how about king f8? Crazy idea. Thoughts? Anyone? Instead of grabbing pawns or moving my queen, why don't I play king f8? Maybe f4? Oh my god. Now that's serious. I wonder if they got the right guy for those Long Island murders. I mean, f4? That's the total ogre move. You sure you weren't in New York City in like the late 2010s? Yeah, well, you are kind of desperate. No, seriously, you are desperate here. I keep wanting to go back to knight d2. You need knight d2 to play c4. It's pretty obvious, huh? And if you go queen e2, he has knight f4. I mean, you can play c4, but you'd have to trade queens, and it's a disaster. Yeah, so let's see. So this is total desperation. f4. Oh, say king f8, f4. Sorry, king f8, f4. Total desperation. And if I take, the tactical consequences is pretty straightforward. You would undermine the defense of the knight, i.e. rook a1. I'm assuming there's no queen sacrifice. Knight takes, knight b2. I don't think so. So queen somewhere. Deep thoughts. Do you have any other ideas? Rook e4. I think we've gone too far. Let's check. Yeah. No, it's just a nice inspiration, but you're probably busted. But this looks like a super mistake. And now this. Oh my god. No, but in all seriousness, after c4, this guy is in big trouble. Now it's like, if he could castle, he might be okay, right? Taking looks very bad. And not taking looks bad. What's the evaluation now? Yeah, you're +1. Wow, bishop d8 is the best move. I don't believe it. That is black's best move. Did you see that? The computer supports bishop d8. The guy's a genius. But I already find, you know, white's position looking easier to play than black now. Getting in c4. I would think, like, psychologically, black is scared. Even if theoretically his position is defensible. So takes, rook takes c1, queen c1. Okay, he has to take back. Presumably he has to take back. Now this lever here with e6. Arsenal, you're very good with like concrete tactics. You know, I've seen that in your fast games. So you're looking for brute force tactics here. The open position. Your pieces are coordinated. His king's in the center. It's close, right? But it might not quite be enough. It's amazing though. You got acerbate like coordination now. Knight f3. There's something cool about these pieces. It seems like all 5 of white's pieces are really coordinating well. You couldn't play knight f3. Really? That's a good one. A move 11, good one. You're only here for the serious part of the analysis. I mean, I find it hard to believe that taking on h4 kills your whole compensation. Is that really for real? So presumably knight h4, really? This would kill your compensation? Do you know where your children are? I gotta believe that you still have compensation. I don't, okay, you're 2 pawns down, but his king's still in the center and you close the tactics. Does e6 really work? Holy shit. That is... Tell me this is about like queen c8 or something. I'm just seeing some things now. Bishop f5. That rook on h6 is so stupid, bro. It's not a rook. It's not even bishop. It's not even a bishop. It's not a knight. It's like a pawn. It's not even as good as a pawn. I mean, it's a pawn that protects forward. It would be better if it like controlled g5, honestly. I don't know if it's more valuable than a pawn in h6, because at least a pawn in h6 would help protect like g5. It protects g6, okay, fair enough. It's not really better than a pawn though. The rook on h6 is his problem. All right, let the lesson be learned. So can he take with the bishop? I mean, obviously you have slow motion attack here with some sort of knight f3, but I'm just wondering if there's anything more dramatic. It's about 5. You have this. This is very dramatic, but does it do anything? Because it drops a knight on d2. You know, this looks kind of disturbing. Takes, check. Knight e7. So there's a lot of questions there. If I could play bishop takes c6, I want to consider that. Yeah. It's a tough call for black. I don't know which way to take. I just hate my bishop, you know. I feel like it's better this way. I can maybe like trade it off or something. He takes with the pawn, which also weakens g6. I mean, his bishop stays there, you know, blocked in. I feel like this is a safer option. Maybe he was afraid of queen c8. Does that work? It does. But knight f3 is your best move. So you played a neat 2-pawn sack. Knight f3. Oh, he doesn't play that. He plays e6. Pawn takes. Knight f3. Obviously, here you don't have any other options. So 2 pawns down comp. And someone on sound would be very proud of you. It looks like I'm playing someone on sound. So he takes on h4. Fuck. Wow. Yeah, this is a position ripe for tactics. I mean, okay, by keeping his bishop on d7, he ensures that you don't get in there to c8, but his bishop remains very bad. But I don't see a knockout blow. So he takes on h4. Isn't necessary, and it looks dangerous, but what are you supposed to do? I'm waiting for you to, like, sack a queen or something. I made him with the 2 bishops in the middle of the board. 2 bishops. Pascal! Pascal! I got mate in the middle of the board with 2 bishops. It's better than sex. So, you just 95'd him. Beautiful. Nimzovich would be proud. Both strategic and tactical. Beautiful, like, Nimzovichian control of e5. Black's king is now paralyzed, protecting this bishop. I hope you're not in a time pressure, Black, because look at the pieces are all maxed out. This is super good. Even your bad bishop from g3. Arsenal's secret, this is a new one. The secret to bad bishops is giving away all the pawns that block them, right? I mean, that's really... Make your bishops great again with Arsenal fan. Just, you know, make your bishops great. You gave away the h4 and your e5 pawn. Now there's nothing blocking that. That was the whole plan all along. When you put the bishop on f4, you knew you would just, like, give away all your pawns. It doesn't matter. Now it's a super bishop. Black lost his mind. No, Black played rook f6. It lost his mind. It cracked his mind. His mind was broken here. I'm going back to bishop takes e6. I mean, it was easier to play that for Black. This is easier to play, I think. Maybe not that much easier, but... And now rook f6. So his queen protects laterally, although it's a very dodgy situation. Now you play queen g5, hanging your rook on e1. This is really what happened. Your rook is hanging, bro. Notice that Black has, like, no threats against the white king. Queen takes e1, queen takes g7, threatening. Queen takes d7, takes everything. Plus other fun stuff. So if you take here with Black, what are we seeing now? He has queen takes e5. No, the bishop, the magic bishop protects that. So queen takes g7. He has bishop e7. So what am I missing? You have other moves. If this is a blitz game, my flag's hanging, I'm playing queen takes rook. So what's the refutation? You want to do this? This is funny. Like bishop c7 f4 attacking his queen. h5 is hanging with check, by the way. Oh my god. White must be, like, winning here. It's not winning. I don't believe it. Oh my god, it's not winning. This is unbelievable. I'm taking a rook, bro, because I don't see what else to do. Okay, he found another move, but... So what's the truth? He should take your rook. Fuck. Crazy bluff. He should take your rook. So was he like in time pressure? It looks scary. I thought you're winning, you know, but I don't know what else to do. I don't see another move for black. He's got to try to live through that. Queen e1. And it's a draw, according to the engine. Although there's no way to be sure, for sure. Apparently there's two ways that black can play. I'm sorry, white can play. Queen h5 check, you're down, you know, a rook and you're down a rook and 2 pawns. This is totally insane. Or queen takes c1, bishop takes h4, and now, well, we're just down the exchange and 2 pawns, and it's equal according to the engine. But I mean, how can you possibly know? You know, if you don't have something, he's going to queen this a pawn. So like the only way this ends in a draw is really like it's opposite colored bishops endgame, or like perpetual. You know, I would guess, you know, he would think he's like either winning or lost. But he doesn't take the rook and he plays knight f5. This is a huge blunder. He had to take the rook. So bishop takes f5. I mean, stupid question. Could he maybe still try to take your rook? It's still the best move, but it's too late. Yeah. I'm cheating and looking at the engine there. It's too late. So he blundered with knight f5 in an incredibly complicated position that I can't even get my head around. Yeah, so that was a really instructive game. Okay, now check, and now he has to play, looks like, king e7. He's made it in knight takes e7. So, look at white's coordination. Mate. Impressive, Arsenal fan. You know, get you out of the opening, get your pieces coordinated. It looks good. All right, now we got more games. Hermano is not here. Camelbot. We'll do Camelbot next. This is Ia10 versus Caruanabot. Caruanabot. What happened with Caruanabot today? Can we check the Caruanabot? Caruanabot drew against Wei Yi. Sindarov won again? Oh my god. Hikaru drew. All the others drew. So Prague lost? Oh my god. Bro, the position that Prague lost is like perfectly okay for black. You know, actually. We were looking at that this afternoon with one of my other students. It had all been played before, like the whole game up to move 17. And then Prague like thinks for like 30 minutes on a very obvious move. Alright, anyway. So Sindarov wins a tournament. That's game over, man. That's over. It was already over, but I mean, Prague should have drawn. You know, that's a draw position. So, all right, he handed over what was left of the tournament there. Caruanabot with black here, not facing Prague. By the way, Hikaru today playing h6 in his game. Hikaru has checked out from top level chess. I mean, I get the a6, but I think we're going too far now. h6. I mean, yeah, it's a move. It seems really stupid. I'm sorry. It seems stupider than a6 to me. But whatever. Magnus played it, so if Magnus played it, it's okay. Anyway. Knight f6, cd5. This is e10 versus Caruana bot. The exciting exchange variation. Caruana bot will not be caught dead playing knight takes d5. Okay, e takes d5, bishop g5, mainline exchange. And then black goes here. What is that variation? So this is interesting. What is this? Like you're transposing to the Rogozin? Can you just do that? That's kind of disturbing. I mean, I gave up playing the exchange variation years ago because it was too popular and everybody knew it really well. But I never thought of that. You know, black can transpose to the Rogozin. I mean, years ago the Rogozin wasn't popular. It didn't become popular till the late, early 2010s. The late, early. No. I mean, what are we talking, like around 2012? Aronian started playing the Rogozin a lot. 2010, 2012. Back in the day, nobody played this move. This is Caruana bot. So it's a Rogozin transposition. Maybe there's some subtle reason why it's not as good as the normal Rogozin. Queen b3 has a good score for white. Well, it's not really a Rogozin. Okay, I mean, that's the point. It's not. Like, what do you call it when black goes here? What do you call it when black plays this? It's not a Rogozin. It's not, because the Rogozin is technically knight on f3, knight on f6, and bishop b4. So whatever this is, it's like pseudo Rogozin. It's like a kind of Nimzo. White's knight's not on f3. So it's I never knew what to call it exactly. After this, again, the knight is not on f3. It's not committed to f3. Well, no, I mean, I think the point is, like, white's knight has to be on f3 for it to be a Rogozin, Arsenal fan. So we could play, like, e3 knight, e2. I think knowledgeable player here isn't just plonking the knight onto f3. e3 is better. And now, yeah, c5 is a move. It looks like it doesn't do well. Castles, also a move that doesn't score well. h6 is apparently main move. h6, bishop h4, g5. Uh-oh, this is looking like something we saw yesterday. This is the variation, isn't it? Well, see, here's the point. Knight e2, h5, h4. Not the same. It's not the same. It's very similar to yesterday or today's. Yesterday's? Was it yesterday's game? With like bishop d3, bishop takes e4. Today? That was today. Okay. Yeah. But different, right? The knight's not an f3. Makes it less good for black, I guess. Alright, so castles, bishop d3, and now h6, bishop h4, and now c5, and now d takes c5. So look at the names here. Nobody good played this with black. Okay, Vlatko Kovacevic was like before my time. I have no idea who that guy is. Sochaki, another young player. But I mean, no famous players here for black. It's inaccurate, like pseudo Rogozin. So Iatan played the opening right, and now should just go here. But instead, you play d takes c5. And does that mean that black has some sort of d4 somewhere? So that's what black did. The Caruana bot played d4. There's two games here. Black played bishop takes c3 in both. But yeah, but I mean d4 you can't recapture. So how does it work? How does it work? You can't recapture. It's a crazy gambit. It's unsound. So it's an insane gambit, and this shouldn't be called the Caruana bot. Caruana would never do something like this. F3. This is like the Velimirovich bot or something. It's the It's the Harry Lyman bot. It's the Gambitier bot. Knight takes d4, sacking a piece now. So what's up with pawn takes g4? I like bishops. This is a bit much. It's rated 2840. And it's obviously programmed to like gamble in the opening. But I mean, Caruana doesn't play like this. So both moves are winning, your move is better. I also would strongly consider pawn takes g4. So you take, maybe that's simpler. It just lost a piece. Oh my god. So that's sort of stupid. Castles, bishop takes c5, bishop f2, and you're up a clear piece. Still, what, losing another pawn on b2? Wow, you gave that up. You're up a clear exchange. Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't a lot there. Caruana bot should be replaced. And that's how we lose. We lose to one move shot. You blundered. It's blitz. All right. Sung Prism. I think the game was fine. You blundered. It's blitz. Not a serious game. So Sung Prism's not here. Let's do let's do this, and then we'll do the Camel Culture game last, because Camel Culture might even show up. Who knows? But I want to thank GP Bear again for donating $10. Can you discuss how analysis was done pre-computers? We can talk a little bit about that during the Camel Culture game. Okay, so E4, this is Sung Prism, may or may not be here. How do you get a game in for G? Well, you have to be a subscriber, first of all. But generally, the earlier, the better. Because the drunker I get, the longer the simul goes on. The analysis stream goes on, the longer the drunker I get. What happened to Zen Chess, by the way? He just left? Was he serious? Like, I don't know. I can't tell if he's like joking. Was he joking? He said all kinds of... He's acted a little unstable lately. All right, so E4. I thought he was on like meds or something. E4, E6. He's streaming. Oh. Okay. D4, D5. It's hard to tell though if people are joking or not. You know, I'm like, okay, I'll send you $10 on PayPal. If he's serious, if he really needs it, he's like desperate. The context is so hard to pick up. Anyway, so we're playing black. It's a French. Last time we saw a Sung Prism game where he played a Burn variation, bishop g5, d takes c4, I thought. This classical, we haven't seen any games that I can remember in ages, if ever. So c5, knight f3. Now, you played the main move, but here's something I don't really get. Why is bishop e7 more popular than knight to c6? I mean, than a6. Can someone explain this to me? I've never really played the classical French with black. Never. played it practically at all. But this move just, it doesn't inspire me. You know, bishop e7 is like, we're gonna like castle and get Greek gift checkmated. I mean, how does that work exactly? Maybe it's the Sicilian player in me. It's just like, okay, we're just not gonna castle. But I'm not attracted to bishop e7. I mean, we want to put pressure on the enemy's center. The idea of hyper-modern chess is to induce the opponent to extend themselves and counterattack. Why bishop e7? I mean, we either play knight c6, which is obvious, or a6 and we expand on the queen side with b5. There's some games with queen b6. This is the move I like the least, though. But let's learn something here. There's Caruana. He's playing the French a lot. Anand Caruana. Top game. Erigaisi. Where's he been lately? We're not hearing anything about Erigaisi lately. You know something I was thinking about, guys? As like a so-called senior, one thing that bothers me, I was looking at the Grenke Chess Open, and because Magnus is playing, it's a big tournament in Germany, looking at the Open section, and there's like 8 million IMs and GMs that are really young, and I've never heard of a lot of them. But the thing that occurred to me about tournaments is there's like almost no like older players playing, and part of the problem is like there started to be, and I'm aware of them, you know, there started to be like tournaments specifically for like seniors and stuff. And one angle I never thought of is like, you know, the problem is people can only play in so many tournaments, and the more senior tournaments we have, the more like these people, these seniors, or you know, these mature players or whatever, don't play the normal tournaments. So it becomes like the standard tournaments, there's like no one over 30. You know, it's like really, really weird. Almost like too exaggerated, you know. You got your Ivanchuks, a few guys that are never gonna play in, you know, senior tournaments. But I was just thinking, like, my point being that maybe, although it's cool to have senior tournaments, maybe it actually hurts the normal tournaments in the end. By discouraging people from playing, everybody from playing. You know, I miss the days when everybody played in the same section. You know, if I go to a normal tournament, I can't play anyone under 30. That started happening around 2016, for me at least. When I stopped playing poker and I came back to playing over the board. That when I went to play in Zalakaros after years of not playing too many tournaments, I got like 9 opponents, all of whom were like 30 or younger. And it felt very strange. But I'm just thinking, is the creation of senior tournaments making the situation worse by, you know, so anyway, I think it should be inclusive. Chess should be inclusive. It shouldn't be age restrictive. Like, it's almost like polarization, you know, like in politics. Now it's like everyone's separated on different sides. The old people play in their tournaments and the young people play in their tournaments. It's sort of stupid. All right, anyway. So knight c6, bishop e3, and now you played c takes d4. I do think like rook b8 is interesting. Who said that? Yeah, that's interesting. Of course. Yeah, any move like that, it's flexible. Why not? That looks like a cool move. You can see it's been played in 100+ games. There's the Hikaru h6. No, h6 is just joking because Hikaru plays like knight f3, h6, but you can always play h6. Yakovenko Kiryakov. I had a Kiryakov game. I played Kiryakov with white in a classical French. I don't have a lot of Frenches with white. Oddly, there's Yakovenko Kiryakov. Yakovenko lost against him. I drew with Kiryakov in a tournament in '99. All right. Anyways, I can count the amount of French classicals I have with white on one hand. So a6 is the main move. You should play a6. Your rook b8 idea is interesting. This h6 is interesting. But c takes d4, I don't like it because you release the tension. It's wrong morally. No, I'm just kidding. It's usually wrong to release the tension. It's a traditional line. I remember there was this chess club game in like 1992, 93 in Boston, where a friend of mine who's a very strong player had white, and the opponent was like an A player trying to draw a strong master who's like a IM strength player. IM strength player playing white, A player playing black. What does the A player do? He goes right into the end game. I'm going to trade pieces against the strong master. Not necessarily a winning strategy for the A player. He lost like a bunny in the end game. Isn't there B6 too? This is not in this position. It looks like not commonly played in this position. All right, so rook b8 is a cool idea. I like that. Oh, rook b8, you're gonna rip him a new one, with a6, maybe like a little more extra strength behind it. Got more power now with b5, b4 coming. It's not clear that the rook on b8 will play a role. I would think like d takes c5 wouldn't be that bad, because now rook on b8 might end up being kind of stupid. Maybe like no good players play d takes c5. We can wait on that though. Wait until a6, right? So what's the point with rook b8? If I play queen d2, what do you do? So this I didn't understand. So the idea is queen a5. I thought you're just gonna like do a6. But a6 white will take on c5, right? Yeah, he'll just take on c5. So then your rook looks kind of useless. So the idea is this weird queen a5. Okay. I would guess this is like computer generated. But now you're supporting b5. I don't know. It's debatable. All right, anyway. Karyak and Carlsen. So c takes d4, knight takes d4. Now you have, what? How many options do we have here? Queen b6. The main line. Queen b6, a3. Or are we poison pawning? He's poison pawning. Nigel Short, a3. I played a3 a bunch. The problem is bishop c5, knight a4. That was I studied that years ago. a3, bishop c5, knight a4. Ivanchuk. Some game, an Ivanchuk game. It's nothing special for white. So queen d2 is probably best. And then once I had to play this on chess, once I had to play this with white, even though I don't know it, on Chess Network back in like 2000, because we had these like thematic tournaments, and I never liked to sack my pawn on b2. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know the line, and it was like some kind of thematic banter games we had to do. I was like, what am I doing? I've never played this in my life. Queen takes b2. French poison pawn variation. You got to know what you're doing with white. Rook b1, queen a3, and now bishop b5. This turns out to be the main move, almost universal. This is tempting. Emil, my friend, has a game with Tonat Min. I would assume he knows it. He plays some offbeat stuff. So this is a mistake. Queen a5. Knight takes d5, and that's a concrete mistake. Everyone played that move. That's kind of messed up. Not the best move. That's really weird. All 5 players played knight takes d5, and the best move is actually knight e2, trading queens. And even knight d6 check is better than knight takes d5. Anyways, so there's no question. White has to play bishop e5. Now it's theory. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4. Black has wins with the move bishop b4 here. Notice that black has no wins after a6, although probably a shitload of those games are correspondence games, I would guess. Judging by the amount of games, I mean, my God, 754 tournament games at master level, they have to be a bunch load of correspondence games for there to be that many. That's outrageous. a6 is standard, but it is a little dogmatic. But this looks like scary. George Meyer, Dreyev, Hubner, Dolmatov. That's solid, you know. Without turning on the engine, if I see that, George Meyer, Dreyev, Hubner, Dolmatov, I'm paying attention. And it doesn't, you know, it doesn't feel dogmatic like a6. But I'm attracted to the statistics. Black actually has wins in this line, whereas in the other line, there are no wins. f5, that's super scary. Played by Dr. Nunn. Check that out. The late Garcia Gonzalez Guillermo from 1987 in Cuba. Super scary. f5 or rook b3, queen a5, Spidler versus George Meyer. This is scary, huh? So lost. White just won a whole bunch of games. Okay, it's pretty scary. Maybe this is a good move to play against a weak player. Bishop b4, but alright. So a6, the safer option. White has rook b3. Damn, they know what they're doing. And now you have to play queen e7 because queen a5 is what? Bishop takes d7 check. I've seen that somewhere. So this is probably in some French. Is this the queen pawns opening? Harry Pillsbury playing white. No. Queen e7. No, it's not the Jababa London. And now bishop a4 is the move. And not a move you find if you don't know the theory. Most recently played in Aronian versus Durabeli and Van Forest Friedman. White winning both of those games. Not a good sign. So what the hell is Black supposed to do? So if you play bishop b4, rook b3, queen a5, how does George Meyer lose here? Can we see this? a3, bishop e7, f5, e takes f5, knight takes d5, so it's a tactical position. Black lost most of these games. You just get tortured. Oh no, it's torture. Well, I'm not going to say I told you so. I would like stay away from this. Like, why? Why are we playing this, you know? Why are we taking on d4? a6, or, you know, even the weird rook b8 or h6 or whatever. I think I stay away from this variation. Even George Meyer loses, you know you're in trouble. The guy almost never loses. He draws like all of his games. I mean, come on. So, this variation, you're lucky your opponent didn't know this. Bishop a4. This is just, like, lame. What is white doing? Whatever happened to Abdul Malik? She was stronger than her counterpart, Absueva. And she, like, disappeared. Maybe. Yeah, this is just a surprising move. So, someone explain to me why we can't play queen takes? I'm being materialistic, but we do have queen h4 check and like queen h3. Queen d7 covers a4. What am I missing here? That it's not possible to play queen takes? But I don't understand why this is necessarily so bad. I mean, maybe I'm a dumbass. Okay, the queen is weirdly placed. Like, white could sit on your dark squares, right? They blockade you. Okay, white has compensation for the pawn, but I'm not sure it's not playable. Let's see what the engine says. Fuck. Oh my god. Dude, that's so weird. A 2200, another 2300, and Sun Prism all played the inferior bishop takes d7 here. Queen takes d7 is better. But I mean, if you think about it, like, what's the point? You know, the whole point is, like, I'd assume to take here. You also have queen h4 check. Well, I mean, you're already suffering for the pawn. Anyway, you might as well have a pawn. But I was thinking, like, bishop takes d7, yeah. Now we transpose back. Rook takes b7. I was thinking queen h4 check. So it's Kariaka Nakamura. Yeah, Nakamura. Surprising how many times Nakamura has played this. Another, well, the French is a better choice than the Caro-Kann, but all right. Bishop takes c7, unbelievable. So I guess Sun Prism just remembered the other line, and he took with the bishop transposing. But queen takes c is better. So he plays bishop takes, we transpose, and there's all this theory. So queen takes, in this move order, white is compensation, but that's it. Yeah. Gotta think. Not just like try to regurgitate stuff you remembered. I mean, clearly white plays bishop a4. And now we're looking at piece sacrifices with bishop takes b5. Wow. I mean, I wasn't playing chess in 2011 much, so I had no awareness of this. But bishop takes was played in Topolov Naka. Damn, bro. This was first introduced in that game. This is young Hikaru. Well, 2011. He was already a very strong player for like 8 years. That's not surprising. Bishop takes b5. Okay, that's the idea. You know, if white plays bishop a4 and they're 2700, you can be pretty sure that b5 is not good. That's surprising. But anyways, wrong recapture, transposing, and now queen d8. And this is probably like something that he's looked at. Queen d8, castles, and now queen c8. It's a main line. It is played as recently as 2025. It's all been played before. And it's like mostly 99% draws. Literally 95% draws. Yeah, we don't really want to trade bishops, but we got to get developed. So you could play bishop e7, but I guess there's a good reason why bishop e7 isn't played. I mean, f5 is looking kind of scary. This can happen. I mean, I don't know. It looks like this could be playable. It is passive, right? And then, like, what happens next? I'm concerned anyway. This was played in one game, bishop c6, an obvious move. Of course, that prevents any future. Okay, Berkic playing white. Croatian Championship. Martinovic did this. He's also a strong player. And then f5. Anyway, he takes f5, knight e2. Arsenal fan approved pawn sacrifice, freeing bad bishops. Bad pawns block good bishops, right? Arsenal fan? Give them away. Inspired by 2600s. Yeah, just give them away. That's how we win in the French. Give those pawns away. Bishop c5, all draws. f5, and now, damn, dude, it's Drawville. 95% Drawville. Hari Krishnan. No relation to Hari Krishna. Retro Edgar. Okay, half of these are correspondence games. Must be fun. Wow, we have a raid, 6 players from Phil Chess. It must be fun, like, regurgitating 24 moves to draw your correspondence games, no? Ars, what do you think? You'd be a big fan of that. Boy, correspondence chess must be fun. You're just, like, playing 26 move draws that have already been played 700 times. I couldn't imagine anything more fun. That's a good time, dude. Wow. Bishop takes d4, check. Queen takes d4, bishop b5, knight takes b5, a takes b5. And, you know, the structure's intact. So theoretically, by the way, thanks again for the raid from Phil Chess. Varuzha and Akobian here are going to grind you down with protected pass pawn on d5 when the c guy goes. No, but white has play. White has play. This break here, getting that in, changes the dynamic. If white doesn't get an f5, he's like strategically lost. Black has to castle it. Black has to watch f6. Are you going to allow f6? The rook's hanging, that's the problem. So he has to recapture here on b5. The last move was pawn takes b5. He has to recapture on b5. And now black castles. If you take on f5, Arsenal fan, what do? We consider e6, right? This is Arsenal fans' dream. Pawn takes pawn. Give him away. Give him away. Right. Give him away. All the pawns. Here we want to take on g7. Black would castle. And likely the game would tend to be a draw, I would think. In this heavy piece endgame, it's looking like all the pawns are going to go. You know, so it's probably a draw. Surprisingly, yeah, and now white did. He played a crazy move. He played f6. But interestingly, a new move. Theoretical novelty. Dangerous, though. Black has a protected passer on d5. We're picking c2, and we're taking a2. And we're going to checkmate white on g2. And queen takes c2 also gives black queen g6. There's no mate. That's amazing. So white played 21 moves of theory only to play f6 here and go on to lose the game. White played rook on b1 to b2 in 40 games, bro. So I have a question. Are any of these over the board games? Are they all correspondence games? That's messed up. They might all be correspondence games. Let's see this top one. No, this is real. This first one is real. I think the second one might be too. Let's check it out. Yeah, the second one is real. The first one is real. George Dimitrov versus Hugh Whelan? I don't think so. But anyway, okay, get the point. Like, most of the games are correspondence games. There's a few real ones. But f6 just doesn't work. Well, it could be prearrangement. But probably just everybody knows it and it's a draw. So f6 is dubious? No, I think the point is like 35 out of those 40 games are correspondence games. And the others just naturally were drawn. But f6, queen takes c2, threatening this. So what do we do if you take on g7? Black can recapture here. And the question is, should black recapture? I mean, maybe rook b3, something with a rook like to the third can be dangerous. So Sun Prism is probably right to do this. The pawn's not going anywhere. On g7, there is a back rank issue to some degree. Here, queen g6. So white's left with an a pawn, but black has a better, the better pawn in d5. But we didn't crack the white king either. So it's not so simple. White ultimately has, 3 weak pawns. g7 will fall. Then he's left with 2 weak pawns on a2 and e5. So it looks like black is just better. And then he blunders with a4, allowing this. The a pawn will go. And he's in Vruzhin-Jacobian land now. Protected pass pawn on d5. Nothing to do. Queen d1. I was looking at rook c2. This pass pawn is strong, but you don't want to push it or it's not protected anymore. What's the best move now? Does white have a threat? I would think like rook c2. The a pawn can advance, but you can get behind it. So a5, rook a1 or rook a2. I mean, well, we'll mate in that case. Okay, sorry, but he has to protect first, or g3. That's even worse. It's not that easy though. You still got f6. It's not completely over. So after this, rook takes, king g7, queen d1, queen e4 first, threatening e5. But that's not necessarily an idea because there's this, oh no, g4 is covered by the other rook too. So we can just take on e5. White plays rook b3, rook a4, and now the scary rook g3 check, king f8. Is white still alive here? Well, black's not winning on the move. White is down a protected passer on d5, and e5 is hanging, but the black king is still not 100% safe, so I'm not sure that black played this perfectly. White now plays queen c1. Oh, avoiding exchange of queens into a likely lost rook in game. Can you imagine this rook in game, by the way, with like those two against those three? Black would have two protected passers. I mean, connected passers. That's very bad. That's lost. So plays this and loses immediately to d4 and rook a1. Anyway, okay, interesting game. Finally, we have the last one for today. Herman, a.k.a. Camel Culture. So I'll repeat what he sent me here. Camel Culture said event, this is from the PGN. This was December to April 2026. Okay, this is just his games. It doesn't say. Oh, me with white against the highest active rated player in Colorado. I forget his name. Colorado highest rated player. And FM about the same age. Opening, early, middle game is the most interesting part. He played the drawn rooking game for a lot. How much money was at stake? Alright, stupid joke. He loved you long time. So we're white. We're white and we're playing the no, we're being Brian Wall. Alright, d4, we're white. d4, knight f6, knight f3. And black plays g6 and we play g3. Which is fine, right? This is fine. We've done this a lot. Black now plays b6. Now, that gets a dubious. I don't know why. It's a move. I actually like the double fianchetto, Queen's Indian, accelerated Queen's Indian. I don't think this is really dubious. It's just a matter of opinion. And black needs to play bishop b7, maybe think about c5, bishop g2. You know, interestingly enough, here, I had this position against Banus, and he did a weird thing where he actually played the same thing, and he castled here. And I wanted to kick myself because you see the number one move for white here is castles. But if castles, black can play c5, and it's good. It's probably black's best move. So if you castle, you allow c5. Banus allowed me to do that. He castled, then he played c4 in the next move. But I was like an idiot, and I went here. But black should play c5. Why not? You should play c5. I wanted to kill myself, you know. Like, why didn't I do that? So I went bishop g7, he just went c4, we transposed. But I could have had a almost equal position after c5. So anyway, okay, it's a type of hedgehog. It's a very little bit better for white. You know, honestly, the double fianchetto hedgehog, after c takes d4. But it's the best shot for black to equalize. Alright, so anyway, c4, more accurate, not giving him the hedgehog. Bishop g7, castles, castles. And now you play d5, and this is my game with Banus. But now I can't remember if... Yeah, Banus played d5 too. Yeah. So my experience with this goes back to, on our stream, you might remember Arsenal fan, I don't know, but... Well, when Blobix was still around, I'm thinking like 2018, maybe even earlier, because it was probably before COVID. Well, yeah, like 2018. I would say around 2018. Blobix showed us a game that he played with Shekashev in the French, I don't know, some French tournament. Shekashev's a GM. So Blobix shared this game, and that's where I learned about this, you know, for black. d5, b5. And so I started to think, well, there's some interesting stuff. Oh, there's Chekyshev, Paul Velton, 2015. So I don't know which came first, the Blabiks or Paul Velton. If Banus had played knight c3 against me, I'm going to play knight e4. And I've also played this position with white. But Banus plays d5, and I played... Nah, I can't remember my move order. I think I played b5. Pretty sure. But now I'm second guessing myself. Maybe I did c6. Yeah. Did I do this? I did this. Okay. I did like Plaskett. I did this, you know. So we followed Ribley Plaskett from 1986 in my game with Banus, which is already 3 years old, in the Hungarian first team division, and I blew a drawn endgame, which I wanted to kill myself. It was a good game, but I held on, and I should have drawn, but as usual, I lost like an idiot, an endgame I should have held, which was really crushing, you know, soul-crushing, stupid loss by me. But what I didn't know at the time, you know, was really how... I always thought like Banus was, for some reason, I thought he was like connected to Adorian somehow, because he used to like play the Sveshnikov and stuff, and the Grunfeld, so I assumed, but maybe he was training with both Adorian and Ribley, because Ribley ended up being his biggest influence. Adorian died, you know. But anyways, so not realizing how closely connected he was, I didn't put it together that he was like mainly studying with Ribley, even though they played on the same team once when I drew Ribley and my friend beat Banus years ago. Anyways, long story short, it looks like b5 is the main move, but I didn't know how this goes, so that's why I didn't play this line. This is what Blabiks did against Chekyshev with black. Played like queen c8, I think. Queen takes b5, and now c6. I saw this also. There's a guy from the UK, Arsenal fan, that played, I don't remember his name, some master level player from the UK. He was a real big guy and had like tattoos, and he had a heart attack or something. He's not that old. He was saying that he had some health issues. Real big guy. Huge. I don't remember his name, but he played this in the World Senior, like, the guy's around 60. He played this in the World Senior like 2 years ago with black. Knew a lot of theory on it. Let's see if I can find the game here, maybe. C6. So 2025. Something there. Del Rio. I don't see it. Let's see, d takes c6, knight takes c6. Huh, Bogdan Lalich versus Welling, 20. Yeah, maybe it was a slightly different position. Okay, I don't remember. But anyways, we're off track. But I wanted to show all the possibilities here. There's also knight a6. Eric Icey versus Carlsen. Even e6. So black has a lot of options. Black plays b5. And so now Camel Culture is white, and he doesn't play queen b3. Here's a question. What happens if white plays knight c3? Black's going to do what? a6 or c6, or what happens there? a5. Well, yeah, a5 is playable. But apparently knight e4 is also played. computer played it in 2011, lost to Grishuk. Don't use your computer against Grishuk. Camel Culture's here. Yeah, so I was wondering about knight c3. Obviously, if takes, you play e4. So this is how Shekhishev Velten went. I've never seen this before. So Shekhishev here, this is interesting. You know, he had the same game against Blobix and played queen b3. And maybe Velten saw that and had something prepared. And so Shekhishev decided to vary when he played Velten, playing the weird knight c3. And so black goes b4. Well, Velten didn't play b4. Wow, he played b takes c4. Right, I also wondered about b4. But, so, the French GM goes, or he was an IM back in 2015, but a very strong blitz player. Played a lot on this site, and I know that he's a GF Caro guy. B takes c4, and then the Banus. Ah, I didn't even think about it. The Banus move. Knight d2 was played by Shekhishev. So it's nothing. Black dissolves white center. Have you seen my center? What center? You mean the center I used to have? Okay, so it's a draw. Two French grandmasters make a friendly draw. Okay, sounds like a joke. B takes c, knight e5, more interesting, by Smirnov. Couldn't beat a 2200. Who also, Smirnov, Mr. Box Set. His box sets didn't help here against a 2230. Box set grandmaster. So b4 played in one game. Homilova. And now where do you put the knight? The million-dollar question. If knight b5, the knight could get trapped with like c5. Knight b5, c5 looks like a problem. Oh, queen b3 is possible. Yeah, good eye, Arsenal fan. But Black's happy with that. You know, black could just go knight a6. That's a standard theme. That's what happened with me and Banus too. Yeah, knight a4, huh? Headed for c5, d6, and then you nibble. Nibble on my house. Nibble like a mouse. So nibbling on the structure with a3. Let's see evaluation here. Better for white. No, but I mean queen b3 might not be a bad move. Let's take a look. Arsenal variation. Queen b3. The engine's on the fence. It thinks a5 is better. Yeah. Yeah. Defend pawns with pawns, huh? But it's playable arse. Knight a4 is best. Anyway, okay, so Camel Culture. Knight c3 is interesting. Queen b3 is like the main line, but you decided to play this. So, okay. Black has two moves. Newsflash. You know, even three moves if you want to consider like e6 or something. That's insane. So bishop takes d5 or knight takes d5. What's your plan here? You're letting him have your central pawn? It's like Polish. So if bishop takes d5, we gain a tempo with knight c3. He has to go back. But it's still like, it's a Polish. He traded the flank pawn for a central pawn. It's not a bad deal for black. I'm okay with that. You know, I think like you're facing a6 next, and I don't think that white has much. His knight b8. Well, that's the Queen's Indian problem piece. Camel Culture. I introduced the Queen's Indian problem piece. Yes, but he will play a6. Or who knows, you know, maybe c6, but probably a6. But I don't see you stopping a6. Are you going to just play a4? I mean, what are you going to do? Like a4? And be like, okay. You're going to go here, maybe? You're thinking strategically? Oh no, it's probably fine. I mean, I don't think that you're worse. The computer does. But I don't know about A4 and Rook A3. Yeah, A6 is best. B4, wow, that's a weird move. So anyway, I just think like what you did strategically is slightly lame because you're giving up your center. But still you're fine. But he plays this move. Maybe this is better. Maybe he's a genius. He takes with the knight. That's definitely riskier than taking with the bishop. You know, he's got a pin situation here, but he's also preventing you from playing knight to c3, which is your natural means of development. If you play e4, that pawn might also be overextended. So, queen b3. This is kind of geometric. Probably nothing special. You folded at the slightest sign of pressure. Well, I want to develop, and you're playing like Acerbate now with knight to g5. The total Acerbate move. Rip Acerbate. I'm just trolling you. You know, it might not be a bad move. But mathematically, I prefer to develop new pieces, not move the same ones over and over again. So, very mathematical. Yeah, it's like the guy who insulted my haircut. The Hungarian in the audience, GGG, said I should just tell him, fuck you. Yeah, honest. Yeah, Acerbate, if you can't get in knight g5, you play knight b5, but there's no knight b5 here, so we'll definitely go with knight g5. You're forcing him to make c6 or e6. He has two moves. So you narrow down the possibilities. What do I do here with black? c6 allows pawn takes pawn, leaving him with a ridiculous structure. So he's basically you forced him to play e6. So there's something concrete about Camelculture style. He forces e6, and then he's going to launch the h-pawn, right? Like Radusa. 100% Radusa would play h4 here. I think maybe Radusa is related to Agad Mater, but I'm not sure. What do you think, Arsenal fan? H4, H5, classic idea in the Fianchetto. You always do H4, H5. Queen E8. All right, what are we going to do here? So you went E4. This is an interesting position in Camelculture. It's fascinating, actually. But I don't like E4 because I like the pin that we have, you know? I don't know. This feels like it's an asset almost. I almost don't want to go here, but maybe it is a good move. You're changing the theme, but yeah, there's more than one way to play this position. I was thinking of sacking a pawn. That's trading too many pieces, though. Like here, you would have very good compensation, but not enough, probably. Well, not more than enough, anyway. That's how I would like lose a blitz game, most likely. All right, E4, fine. Now, yeah. I mean, maybe E4 is like the engine's #1 move. It's very business-like. Keep it simple. That's the Camelculture mode. Black could play like H6 or something now. I guess. H6, pawn takes knight. Pawn takes g5. And you also don't have to do that. You can move your knight as well. This is confusing. Okay, I'm confused. But the development seems good for you. You know, now you're playing knight c3. Now he plays h6. Now, I'm a little concerned about, like, the knight getting sidelined on h3. Speaking of bad knights. But you don't really have a choice. So he could play, for example, like e5 when you go knight h3 to lock your knight out. I would be like thinking about this. Right. Absolutely. I mean, it's like turned into like a weird English defense. It's like the English versus the English defense, and you know. It's also, well, really similar to a Boffinic English, or like some kind of like closed Sicilian type structure. It's very interesting. So he goes a6 instead, more hyper modern. And now you took. But Asterbate would never do that. Once we put one knight on g5, you have to put the other knight on b5. It's like symmetrical. So having said A, we have to say B. We have to put the knight on b5. So I guess here, like rook e1, reinforcing your e-pawn, supporting e5, and then you're prepared to take with a knight on b5. So we have double knights. You know, both Asterbate knights have reached juxtaposition. And that way you're not, you know, skewered on this diagonal. Rook e1 looks good. But in all seriousness, I mean, I don't know. This is a very weird and imbalanced position. I guess e5 might be even better there. In this case, it would shut your knight out and make your rook look kind of stupid. So you take. Now, I believe in what knight takes, but there are tactics with e5. What the hell is going on with these e5 things? Bishop takes e2, pawn takes f6. Bishop takes h3, pawn takes g7. The very similar thing happened in a Kirill Grigiev game at the World Senior, where he actually almost lost against Plotkin. Grigiev wasn't having his best tournament. He's getting up there, and he like got sloppy, and he was like worse, allowing something like almost identical to this. Yeah, black is better here. Grigiev draws from the worst position. So it's tempting to go there, but it doesn't work. But I think he should take back with the knight, no? I mean, you're talking about a bad knight. Here's his chance to develop his knight, and he takes with the rook. But taking with the rook is weird. You know, what are you going to do? We're going to rook d6 me? It's not a terrible move, but this has got to be, like, more natural. So he takes with the rook, and now you play the obvious bishop e3. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know. There's so many possibilities, but you know, the long diagonal is kind of making b3, taking b3 off the table. Knight f4 does not allow the e5 idea. Okay, knight f4, yeah, of course, Arsenal fan, thank you for being the voice of reason. The most normal move, getting the knight in the game. Speaking of bad knights, right? Yeah, knight f4 is fine. Of course, it blocks the f pawn, but what are we going to do? Okay, the other option is f4. Yeah. Well, f4 is very natural. I like f4 and knight f2. It's a wraparound knight. Can never get it mated with the knight in f2. That looks good, actually. Now that you mention it, I like f4 better. Obviously this is a very combative situation after d5. That's going to be the acid test. And, it's a crazy situation, but I don't believe white can be worse. He is worse? Oh my god. The center, oh no. The computer prefers black. You should have never given up your d pawn. Okay, maybe f4 is a mistake. It's too ambitious. So Arsenal's right. Knight f4 is better. Not allowing d5 without a fight. This is obviously a good move. Alright, anyway. So you left your knight on h3. And black played d5. But you still have knight f4. No, in all seriousness, it looks like the f4 wasn't as good because d5 becomes too strong. This is a little different now because if he tries to play d5, Counterculture is looking at this sort of blockade, Nimzovician blockade of these squares. Maybe black shouldn't play d5 here. He takes with the knight. It's kind of gross. And maybe not so bad. I'm just not a huge fan of rook takes a6, but this still needs to be considered. So d5 takes, and then if he takes with the pawn, it looks like you have a pretty ideal blockade position here. This looks kind of good. I don't think I like black now. Although, it's ugly, but it's playable. He might be able to deal with that. So he takes with the knight, the ugly. Knight takes d5. And now he swaps everything, boring. And your knight's still on h3. So you both have bad knights. And we don't really want to fix his structure, but he's starting to take on b2. But wait, if he takes on b2, we take on h6. Yeah. Well, in my opinion, it's looking like it's gonna peter out. You traded the knight, the bishop, the wooden shield, right? It's Hikaru's wooden shield. Bishop takes d5. Ugh. Now, if he was a manly man, he would have played pawn takes. Caruana Bot would have played pawn takes. This is like coward move. The top two players in Colorado showing mutual fear. So mutual fear and respect in Colorado. Queen takes d5, respecting the camels. Power. Do we have knight f4 now? Because I don't want to fix the structure. We're just going to lose a pawn. Shit, it blocks the bishop on h6. We're going to have a shitload of development, and it wouldn't do much, huh? So like knight f4, queen takes, rook takes, bishop takes b2, rook b1. He can't take, but he just goes back somewhere. He's just like up a c pawn. You probably have compensation, but it's not enough. You don't want to grovel for a draw with white. So you have to trade queens or move your queen. You could move your queen. But he's going to develop now with knight c6, and he's got good control of the center. So you need this tempo, and now he's got hanging pawns. He still hasn't completely solved his problem, but your b pawn and a pawn are hanging. h6 is hit. Your knight can't get in the game without blocking the attack. So you put pressure on his pawns. What do you do here? You're going to end up dropping a pawn and getting tortured. Rook fd1. Knight f4. But knight f4 c6 doesn't help much, right? We could play knight d3 and defend. Knight f4, bishop takes b2. Rook b1. Let's take a look at this for a second. Knight f4. If he just defends, we have this. We're not better, are we? Black's probably better with the better bishop. So I think this is the position where you have to reach a mental, like, place where you're not better. And what do you guys say? The exchange might be a problem. Well, I also don't want to trade queens on d5. But my issue is that the queen on d5 looks very strong, you know. But maybe we can find a better move here. How about, I mean, we're at danger of dropping both our queenside pawns, though. So queen e2, rook takes a2. My head hurts. Something like, and also our knight is stuck. If something happens where he plays e5, we can't get our knight in the game. Something like queen c1. Okay. Let's play devil's advocate. g5, queen f5. I don't think Camel likes this. The original thing I was afraid of, the computer likes this, yeah. Yeah, this is unfortunate. I can't believe we're worse here, though. I just want to, like, find a way to equalize and end this. You know. a4. You know what Dubov would do? The move you never considered, right? Bro, would it be funny if rook fb1 was your best move? Did you ever consider this? Hey, look, I have two powerful outside pawns. Is this not a serious idea? If you had time to play a4, rook a2, or rook a3, and then b4, you're just like rolling, you know. But the interesting thing is that he doesn't have this, so he can't attack your b2 pawn again until he moves his knight. So he needs time. So he goes, you know, here, but he blocks his c pawn. I guess it should be considered, though, because he's got this. I mean, it's probably bad, but I mean, you have stuff like, oddly enough, bishop c5, maybe. Bishop c5, rook b8. Now we have a problem here. There's no time for bishop c5. a3 is the wrong color. a4 is too slow. It's probably too slow to quite work. He can also go knight d7. But at least you need to consider it, because if you had like one extra move, it would probably work. I'm curious what the computer says. Knight f4, rook fd1, bishop c5. This move doesn't cross the computer's mind, not for 1 second, because of d4, which I think a lot of people probably wouldn't play. Luke Hamill probably would have played it, like he played it against me. Alright, so rook fd1. This is not a bad move. He plays rook d8 now. c6 is possible too. But I sensed that that was a critical moment, and you went for the exchange, which makes a lot of sense. But I don't know, you gotta know your opponent. Camel culture. It's like a poker thing. You gotta know your opponent. You know, if he's an endgame, like, lover, specialist in the endgame, you know, you may not be happy here. If he's an attacking player who loves to checkmate people, maybe, you know, he's not really the strongest FIDE master in endgames, you're fine. So he takes and plays c5, obviously. You would have done the same thing. You know this is, like, a little bit unpleasant. But now both sides have hanging pawns. Do these count as hanging pawns? I mean, they should, right? They're just weird second rank hanging pawns. So it's hanging pawns against hanging pawns. How bad can it be? Rook d2. And it should be a draw. But that's easy to say when there's 5 pawns left in this. It's you know, it's not symmetrical. And I'm stuttering. Here again, we need to be accurate. Knight on h3 has been there too long. It needs to move. But he's got a double threat, knight d4, knight b3, and knight d4, knight f3. So your move, you could play maybe king g2. King g2, avoiding the fork. As stupid as it sounds, you have knight g1, which might not be a bad backup plan in case like g5 happens or something. You can meet knight d4 with rook somewhere. Shit, and there's a fork at b3. Fuck, man. He's got a fork at b3. That sucks. So we have another issue. You played rook c1. Oh, that happened? Knight d4, king g2. He didn't take on a2. What? You have rook d5 at the end. Oh, okay. So that happens if rook takes a2, rook takes. You have rook takes d5 at the end. Okay, so it's a transposition. All right. So it's a draw. Okay. I didn't go far enough. So you play the other move order, but he doesn't have to play knight d4. He can play c4. If c4, knight f4. Starting to look good for you, actually. So what's the problem here? If you can't play rook takes a2, it looks like you're okay. Where's the problem, officer? There's no problem. You're okay. Whew, we escaped. 96, knight f4. Obviously. Knight f4. Looks like an exclamation point to me. But maybe I'm just being lazy. Maybe we're both being lazy. This is a beautiful move, but maybe we need to think about other options. Would Karpov play knight f4? It's a nice move to play. It's very aesthetic, it's very forcing. But objectively, are we being impatient with this move? Can white really be better? Your knight sucks on h3. So it's like impossible to blame you for playing knight f4. Well, I was thinking also, Arsenal fan, that b3 is playable. Not just a3. Maybe b3 is better. I mean, black's tied down to d5, so I don't really see any problems here. I mean, if he plays this, you're going to play knight f4. I don't see black winning. So anyway, knight e6, knight f4 check, g takes f. And I don't know if black is like a endgame scientist or something. Obviously, theoretically, white is worse with the double isolated pawns, but it shouldn't be a big deal. We'd rather have a single rook in game. But all rooking is are draws, right? b3. Again, not forced. You have f5, losing a pawn. You can always play f5, maybe g5. You could play king f3. But okay, the tension is like, who's better? Is black really better? He plays d4. This is a very committal move. Does that seem like a mistake? This is probably a mistake, right? What's he supposed to do, though? You can force him to play that at some point. Maybe he should centralize his king. I would think like king g7 is more constructive than playing d4. d4 not a constructive move. Now white can liquidate everything. Even Bonus would give me a draw here. Ugh. Alright, so b4. Did you take the wrong way? You have an outside pawn, right? After rook takes b4. Where did black lose hold of the edge? Well, he never had that much edge to begin with, but I mean, we're talking about a very small edge, right? Like when he traded queens on move 17, he's better by 0.2. He's better by 0.2 here. There's a weird idea that's probably not good, right? Like bishop f8. I would go here. That would be crazy. That's me, not the computer, coming up with bishop f8. It's the second best move, but maybe if I had to win the game for like $1 million, if this was like, you know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but it's like the chess version and you had to win, and the bishop on d4 doesn't have a lot of squares, I don't know. Maybe not trading pieces with bishop f8. Not too many people are going to play this, but if you had to win for $1 million, I think not trading pieces might be a good idea there. It's too simplified after this. Early on, should he keep the bishop open after my e4? Keep his bishop open. You mean here? My first instinct is that knight f6 was weird, but I mean, I thought I would take with the bishop if I was black, dude. Honestly. He's kind of, you know, he's kind of making life complicated by taking with the knight, no? I'll eat the tempo with knight c3 and bishop b7 and just keep it simple and play for a6 and I'm fine. I have a good Polish for black. Has a good Polish here. He gave you all this crazy complications with knight takes d5, right? He was like embracing the complications. I think that's on him, you know. and you were probably right to try something funky. I think that ultimately, though, you know, he's allowing you to construct a center, whereas with this, you're not getting an e4 here. How are you getting an e4? You're gonna have to find some way to do it, but it doesn't work. Queen c2, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe queen c2. Maybe it's not so easy. But you know, he has stuff now, though. He'll have stuff. It's not that simple. You know, your queen could be attacked. A6. Yeah, this isn't. I don't know. You know, I don't like your decision to take on b5. You know, I think that Banús doesn't want to do that. If it was me that played b5 instead of c6 against Banús, or Ripley was playing white, they would probably play queen b3. I'm trying to remember who the English guy was that played this. That his opponent, maybe he wasn't English. That's my problem. I told Arsenal was a big guy in the World Senior who was from England, but I'm a fucking American and I'm stupid. Okay, the guy wasn't from England. He was Scottish. That was the thing. Okay, I now remember. I'm sorry to all of Scotland for like just lumping you guys in the same category, in England too. He was a Scottish guy, rated like 2100, and he played this with black, but I believe he was playing someone quite good. The guy knew the line really well, but his opponent was a strong player and ended up winning with white, I think. But queen b3 is known. But your other option is to play knight c3. So d5, Banús approved. I played c6. I wasn't really well prepared for this. This is a totally other variation. I don't know what the computer would say. It likes knight a6 the best. It's not even hitting c6 in the top 5. But I kick it up a notch. If we kick it up a notch, and my processor's not that fast, knight a6 is still the best move. And now b5 overtakes it. Anyway, it's interesting questions about this line. No, d5 is a good try. It's ambitious. If you wanted a draw, I mean, you know, you play safe, and Romanov tells you that you're playing for a draw after the game. Now, this was my game with Romanov, with white. I played both sides, you know. Me versus Romanov, I didn't remember the game right. He played knight e4. No. Romanov played knight a6 against me. Very rare. Look at this. It's really weird how you misremember your own games. For the longest time, I thought Romanov just played knight e4 against me, but he played it a move later. I played bishop f4 here, and now I play knight e4. But anyway, the point is, like, knight c3 is standard, and it's easier for black to play for a draw. Romanov trying to be interesting by playing knight a6 there. There's only 2 games where this has ever happened. Mine was the first. Now a5 is slow. There's a lot of theory. I did some videos on this, but d5 is the acid test. It looks like. Yeah, I wouldn't trust this. Is weird. So I was unprepared when I faced Banús. I don't remember. I didn't have any prep. I was just thinking about this Queen's Indian Accelerated, played a few games with it. But yeah, in general, in your game, I just don't think that this is serious. C takes b5. It's surprising, though, that no one played it, because it is like the second best move according to the engine. We also discovered something really cool here. Check this out. Camel Culture played the second best move. maybe. But check this out. There's a novelty, e4. Now it's like the reverse of my idea to do the Shekeshev. Shekeshev makes sense, right? You can do e4 here, and your opponent will accuse you of being a computer after the game. e4, knight takes e4, and then black will like shit bricks after knight d4 with d6. There were these themes in my game with Banus where there's this like discoveries on the diagonal. You have to be very careful. This is cool. Totally unknown. Knight c5. The black's gonna miss that a lot of the time. Knight c5. Dude, this looks kind of dangerous. C takes b5. That's a better camel culture. Yeah, knight d6 is... No, knight d6 is awkward for black. That's how I lost to... What was it? Gigantobear? Gigantobear, whoever she is. Do you know who that is, Arsenal fan? I think that it might be an English WFM. Gigantobear comes on my stream and plays d4, although she never plays d4, and then like wipe the board with me with some kind of weird... I played some kind of weird Benko type thing where she sacks her e4 pawn, and then I put my knight on d6, and yeah. So camel culture could try this e4. e4 is interesting. But anyways, Slaggy plays c6. Banus plays knight c3. Slaggy takes on d5. Banus takes on d5, and now Slaggy plays b5. You know, the funny thing is, the really funny thing is, I don't know where I saw this. It's like, did I just make it up over the board? Did I actually see it? Did I actually play it in another game? And can we check? So, Mr. Slowhand Sparklehorse 2024. Banus was... Wait, when is Banus? The Banus game was played in 2023. Okay. Dude, that's 3 years ago. Schieberspieler I had already played in 2023, but it was around the same time of year. Okay, so Banus is in February. I repeated the game against Schieberspieler a month later. And I had a game with Oms a month later too. That's weird. All 3 of these games were played shortly after my game with Banus. So I'd never had a game in this line. No, he probably prepared. But I just don't remember how I knew this if I had never actually played it. I might have had an off-stream game. But it's such an obscure position. And Plaskett played b4. You wonder if Jim, aka the Red Baron, just came up with this over the board, or he had actually like played this position somewhere, blitz or rapid or whatever. But is my move an improvement on Plaskett? They're like neck and neck in the engine. It's both are like one pawn. The engine finally comes up with another move, a6, which obviously I dismissed because of a4. But this is new. a4, b4, knight e5. But if you're playing like Banus or Ribley, now Plaskett and I did basically the right thing. You need to... These guys are technical as fuck. You need to create positional sort of chaos or strategic chaos against them. They're not gonna you're not going to be able to break them like technically. You know, creating a chaotic position is the best chance. Although both of us lost. I certainly had a draw in hand and I lost. I don't know how Plaskett lost against Ripley, but Ripley was very, very strong in his prime. This is a novelty, and I was surprised how quickly Banus found this 95. 95, 96. I did a video on this game on Chess Lecture. It's very crazy and interesting position. It was a really well played game until I blew the drawn end game. He played like a computer, but it was very, very close. Anyway, rip me. How to lose a drawn end game. I left myself with not enough time and blew a simple end game. So anyways, yeah, I think Camel Culture shouldn't do that. You know, taking here is just lame. It's too much releasing the tension. So Queen B3 is best. But this is interesting. This is new. E4. Now if B takes C4, knight FD2. Okay, this is nothing special though. And if knight takes E4, this is really interesting. This knight D4 we just looked at. This is crazy. You know, one false step and you're in a lot of trouble. Look at this. Oh yeah, that looks fun. Knight C8? Of course. How does this strike you? Are you having fun yet? I'm not playing this position, dude, for black. And the computer thinks it's okay, but it looks scary. Center overextended. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, interesting stuff. I gotta go, guys. It's been a great night. See you all for Friday Blitz. We don't talk about it here. We ban us. I'll ban us. He's banning us. I know chess is love. I'm sorry. So, guys, off to sleep. I'll see you after my beauty sleep tomorrow and Sunday. All right, guys. Bye-bye. Sunday simul, that is. Black School simul Sunday night. Bye. Blitz tomorrow around 12:31 CEST. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh.